Ah, yes. Objectivism truly is man's only recourse. Oh, hi. My name is Jimmy Callaway. Many years ago, I sought to write the great American novel. I wanted to plunge beneath the surface of farcical escapist drivel and address the true motivations and passions of mankind. Love and hate, life and death, sex and the opposite of sex, and so on. And so I spent over 30 minutes of my life writing this book, Lupo Danish Never Has Nightmares. Well, not this book, but it's more or less the same thing. The eponymous Lupo is basically a thug, but a superpowered one, and one who has been manipulated by crime lord / real estate baron Mickey Braddock into being his right-hand man, the guy to take care of extra special situations with an extra special dose of violence. The novel tells Lupo's story in 3 acts, or issues, if you will, and at the beginning of issue 2, we meet pretty Melissa, the younger sister of one of Braddock's cronies, who has been kidnapped, and now it is up to our hero to save the day. Melissa shivered. Outside, the leaves were just beginning to turn, their edges creeping orange and brown. The sound of broom bristles on pavement kept a steady rhythm as children played touch football in the street, their new back-to-school sweaters piled on a nearby stoop. A mourning dove cried its bittersweet song. The dusk pouring in from the skylight high above was softening to purple, and Melissa could tell it was around 4:30, the city beginning to bustle with rush-hour traffic, people tired from an honest day's work, hurrying home to be with their families. If Melissa closed her eyes, she could just hear the buzz of their conversations, their laughter, could just feel the bite of the wind. Then another bucket of ice water was poured over her head. "Do not close your eyes," Leader said. "Do not attempt to escape, internally or otherwise, or your punishment will be even more severe." His voice was muffled behind his mask, a boxy helmet with a close mesh screen set into the face, almost like a beekeeper's outfit. Leader and his followers all wore them, American flags stenciled crudely over the netting. 3 of his followers stood in a loose group behind him, machine guns hanging on straps from their shoulders like purses. Melissa could hear their wretched breath rattling around in their masks. One of them tittered softly. Leader leaned forward, his hands on his knees, and Melissa could make out the jumpy movement of his eyes as he searched her face. "We'll try this again," he said. "Who do you think you are?" I don't... "Who do you think you are?" Leader shouted, and the echo of his voice bounced off the moldy sea-green walls, the chipped paint seeming to shudder. Melissa averted her eyes, remembered the times as a child she peered into this chamber through the other side of the glass in wonder. Now she was being held prisoner in the old shark tank at the abandoned Manchester Aquarium. Blinking the icy droplets from her lashes, she could almost see the ghostly form of her own face as a child, a round-eyed little girl with that boring, straight brown hair. A sob choked her throat. Again she heard a dove cry. There must be a nest on the roof. Leader stood up straight. "Save your tears for someone with mercy," he said. "Someone who might not remember this land before you filthy immigrants invaded our shores." "No," Melissa said. "No, I was born here. My family is from England, but I... Silence! The leader of American Ideals Reparations is not interested in your lies. I will not stand here and allow you to further pollute the air of this great nation with each foul breath." Leader looked up suddenly. "What was that?" He turned to his followers. They looked at each other. One of them shrugged. Leader said, "Who's on roof duty today? Is it Kenny? Because I thought And then a body came smashing down through the skylight. Leader and his followers moved back just in time to avoid the body of another follower. His mask was beaten in, crumpled, net loose from its setting. He landed face down, and Melissa could hear the flat, short squish of his body hitting the floor, imagined his internal organs rupturing. She felt her gorge rise, but she also felt a tingle begin at her ankles and climb up her body. Leader looked up and pointed, but before his followers could reach for their machine guns, the man in black leapt through the broken skylight. He jumped in feet first, his arms out to his sides, and to Melissa it was as though he was floating down. His black shirt was tucked snugly into his black slacks, and his hair was cut short, slicked back, but a single forelock fluttered against his brow as he descended. She could see, even from here, that his shoes had a high shine and hard soles, which landed directly on the shoulders of one follower, knocking him flat to the ground. Another follower raised his gun, but before he could even bring it level, the man in black reached out and crushed the barrel with his bare hand. The squeak of the metal echoed in the empty tank. The man in black grabbed the follower's ruined gun with both hands and swung him by the strap, lifting the follower off his feet and smashing him into his compatriot. Leader was the last man standing. The man in black wasn't even breathing heavily. "You cannot defeat us," Leader shouted. "We are many. We are legion. We are—" The man in black punched him in the face. Leader flew back into the far wall of the tank, leaving a single crack in the thick glass with his head. Melissa only then realized that tears were streaming down her face. The man in black was blurry in her vision, and for a sharp stabbing moment she feared he was a figment of her imagination, a psychic defense to hold on to hope. But then he leaned over to untie her, and she could smell him, his musk and sweat, and a faint backdrop of something almost chemical, like chlorine. His large hands were gentle against her skin as he undid the knots. She blinked the tears from her eyes and looked up at him. "Hi," he said. So, as you can plainly see, action, adventure, romance, few of these things can be yours if you purchase a copy of Lupo Danish Never Has Nightmares, now available from Crime Factory Publishing and Artisanal Bakery. My name has been Jimmy Callaway. Good night, and may God have mercy on all of our souls.